Welcome back. On one hand, the Gaza Board of Peace represents a high-level diplomatic pledge to stabilize a region in ruins. On the other hand, the systemic challenge remains. How do these institutional blueprints actually reach the families on the ground? For you and me, these international frameworks can feel technical and also distant. But at the human core, it is about restoring a life of dignity. Joining us to provide a ground-level perspective now is NADIR Al-NURI, CEO of Cinta Gaza Malaysia, a prominent humanitarian advocate who has spent years working directly within the Palestinian landscape. Salam Ramadan, Nadir. Thank you for joining us. Nadir is dialing in from Istanbul, where he has just concluded the launch of the Global Summit Flotilla in Turkey. Let's start with this question. As the Gaza Board of Peace, or the BOP, becomes a more prominent framework in international discussions, what is your assessment of its primary objectives and how does it differ from previous peace initiatives?
Thank you, Bernama TV, for having me. First of all, I think people who follow what is happening in the Gaza Strip right now, what is happening in the so-called peace process, they can see that everything is all over the place at the same time. No one is knowing what is happening. No one is knowing what is happening tomorrow, let alone in the next few years. And everyone is trying to put their finger in the pie, as people say it. And of course, the most prominent person doing this is unfortunately an egocentric narcissist who is heading the United States. He has been trying to do this for a few years now. He has been trying to show and be the hero of the Gaza peace process or the Palestinian peace process. He has been trying to do this in many countries, and the cherry on his cake is Gaza. So he started with the peace process that he initiated last year, which even started before that in Joe Biden's tenure. Then he started proposing what he calls the Board of Peace. And for some political analysis, they say that the Board of Peace is basically Trump's dream or Trump's world, where he is in control of everything. He does what he likes. He puts people in charge and then makes other people listen to his orders and do stuff on the ground that they cannot and will not do on their own. So basically, how he is running the Board of Peace is like a company. He has people that he invited, 62 countries, 20 plus something agreed to be on the Board of Peace. And after 3 years, they will have to pay a 1 billion membership fee. So as we look at it, it is as if it's a new reality show for Trump and for the people who follow him. And the framework itself is not even clear. If you scrutinize the Board of Peace, you will see that Trump has put his name as the chairman or the boss of the Board of Peace, and not even stated that the Board of Peace will be headed by the President of the United States, meaning that after he finishes his tenure, so who will be in charge? Who will be in control of these countries that have been put in a new how do you say it, a board, a new group that controls some Palestinian peoples who has been called the National Committee on an administrative level inside of the Gaza Strip to rebuild and reconstruct Gaza. So on the humanitarian side and from what we see on the ground, from all these countries that we have been visiting in the last few months, it is a no-go. We cannot agree on it, but it is the only option that is on the table right now.
Right. Now, we understand that membership to the Board of Peace is by invitation only. To what extent does the current structure of the board include local Palestinian voices and civil society, and how critical is this inclusion for the sustainability of any proposed peace plan?
We know that in the executive, as they call it, founding committee members, there is Marco Rubio, there is Witkoff, there's him himself, there's Kushner, and there are not any Palestinians at all who are involved in the process. There are not any Palestinians at all who are on the executive council. they were just given the option of choosing technocrats to be a part of the national committee who are on the working level of the board office itself, and even so, they are not given the power to do anything. We have heard Ali Sha'at, who has been chosen as the commissioner of the national committee. He has been in the Gaza Strip for weeks now, but he has no control over anything. He cannot make any changes happen on the ground. He cannot let humanitarian aid flow into Gaza Strip. He cannot even allow any building materials to be allowed to enter inside of the Gaza Strip. So basically, what power they have is controlled by Trump himself. And unfortunately, we know that the board of peace itself has been constructed and in agreement with Israel. So it should be the other way around. People should be in charge of their own countries. People should be in charge of their own sovereignty, but that is not what we are seeing. So they should be on the board. They should be on the executive level. They should be the ones calling the shots, but that is not the reality now. And it will not be sustainable if it goes on like this.
Right. One of the board's stated goals is reconstruction, and we have countries who have pledged towards reconstruction efforts. How do you see the BOP balancing the urgent need for humanitarian aid with the complex political requirements of all of these international donors?
I think what should have happened was that the donors should have pledged or made their promises through international bodies that unfortunately, even if you see they are not working right now, the UN is not functioning, international law is not at the level we should see it, even it's very grossly impacted by Israelis' needs, and they are succumbing to it. But yeah, the donors should be giving their promises to legit bodies so that they can make it happen. We have seen this kind of pledges before. I have lived through the wars of 2014. I was in Gaza at that time. I was in Gaza in 2021 when the 11-day war happened. Houses that were bombed and that were destroyed in 2014 have not even been rebuilt yet. So what are we going to do with this war that the UN says needs 10 years of reconstruction efforts, tens of billions of dollars that countries are promising, but if it does not have any benefit for them, they will not have the political will to give the money. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I'm so sorry that I'm being the man that is putting so much bad hope in your minds, but that is the reality that we are seeing, and we have to work together to make it happen. We have to be the ones pushing our governments and pushing the governments involved to make this happen, and that is how the people come into the picture.
Right, there is no need to be sorry at all, Nadir. I mean, you are coming from a place of experience. You've seen this on ground. Now, with the upcoming Global Sumut Flotilla mission coming up, the GSF 2.0, that's scheduled to deploy in the coming months, how do grassroots humanitarian efforts view the entry of institutionalized bodies like the Board of Peace? Are they going to be complementary, or do you feel that they operate on different priorities? Are they going to be a hindrance?
I think as of now we see that it is more a hindrance than going to help us, because we have been in contact with the people in Gaza who are so-called in power. We have been in contact with the Egyptians, and they are throwing words around. We are asking them we should be allowed entry into the Gaza Strip. We should be able to open a humanitarian corridor through land and through the sea. And they are saying, oh no, now we have to discuss with the National Committee. Now we have to go through the Board of Peace. So the last time they only had Israel to blame. Now they have a few other structures that they put in front of us to say that we are no longer in power, we cannot do this, we cannot do that. You have to ask the people who are so-called in power at this time. So it is more a hindrance of what we are doing. And the aim to move forward with our plans, the aim to sail again, shows that what the international community is doing is not enough. What the leaders of the countries is doing is not enough. What the Board of Peace is doing is not enough, and they are not making any changes on the ground that can make the people believe that the war is ending, the genocide is stopping and not going to be reignited again. They do not have hope that they will be able to go back to their lives as before 2023 or even before that in the next few coming years. So yes, that is why we are still pushing ahead. We are doing our part as civil society organizations. We are doing our part as the people, and us not stopping is meaning that the countries are not doing enough. I am in Istanbul. Yesterday we had a press conference involving 150 NGOs and CSOs from Istanbul, and all of us united together to say that we are going to sail again from Istanbul. And that means that Turkey, who is in the what you call the Board of Peace, even is not doing enough, even if they are not allowed to be a part of the ISF inside of the Gaza Strip because of their affiliations and close relations with the Palestinian people.
Nadir, we totally understand your hesitance and also, you being less than optimistic about the Board of Peace. However, looking ahead, what key indicators should the international community monitor to determine if the Board of Peace is achieving its goals of long-term stability and justice for the region as it claims?
Last week, actually, one of my family members from the Gaza Strip tried to enter into Gaza. As we know, now they are allowing 50 people to go out of the Gaza Strip and 50 people to enter inside of the Gaza Strip every day. That is the main or the smallest of, how do you say it, guidelines that they are putting. The least of hope that they are putting is allowing 50 people to go inside of the Gaza Strip and 50 people to go outside of the Gaza Strip, while there are 10,000 people who are ill and sick waiting to get out of Gaza. So my family member, she had to go through an intense scrutiny to be able to go inside of the Gaza Strip. She had to go through 4 checkpoints, first by the Europeans, and then by the Egyptians, and then by the Palestinians, and they even had to go through a checkpoint by the Abu Shabab, which is, we know, a mafia group inside of the Gaza Strip. And after that, they were allowed to meet with their families inside of Khan Yunis, which is the second region, most southern part of Gaza, which means that Rafah is no longer even accessible to the people of Gaza again. That shows that their promises of opening the border is not happening, and that should be one of the main key points that we should be looking at. And then the delivery and entry of aid is also a big factor. And then the reconstruction process itself should be happening very, very soon, especially involving hospitals, involving schools, universities, all those small things that we as people outside of Gaza are able to experience every day in our lives. If those indicators are seen, and then we can say that something good is happening.
Right. Thank you so much, Nadir, for your very valuable insights all the way from Istanbul in Turkey. More global updates coming up after this break. This is The World on Bernama TV.